and the fissure, yes? Make sure you have longitudinal fissure between the hemispheres. You also have to take a look at those pictures, and of course you have a key in there. Transverse fissure between cerebellum and what? Cerebrum. So take a look at that picture, and of course you have a key for this model right here. Make a copy of that. Then you go inside and identify the septum pellucidum. I just talked about that. Remember the membrane between the lateral ventricles? The corpus callosum. We're going to talk about that next week, okay? Fornix. Here's the thalamus. In the center of the thalamus, you have a network of fibers. Right here. Called intermedia massa thalamus. Intermedia massa of the thalamus. Remember, this is the diencephalon area where you have thalamus, hypothalamus, yes, and epithalamus, or what? Pineal gland or pineal body. So this is the thalamus. Here's the hypothalamus. If you look in there, you see the hypothalamus is connected to your pituitary gland. Or if you look at the key, it says hypophysis. Hypophysis or pituitary gland. The hypothalamus is connected to your pituitary gland. Remember, hypothalamus is part of the brain. It's made of neural tissue. But pituitary gland, it is made up of what? Somatic cells, body cells. Remember the glandular epithelium? So hypothalamus is part of your psyche, is part of your mind, is part of the brain. Whereas the pituitary gland is part of your body, is part of your soma. Have you heard of psychosomatic diseases? If you tell yourself that you get sick, you might get sick. Because when you do that, you put a lot of pressure on what? Hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus, as you're going to learn in the first day of the class when you get to AMP2, the hypothalamus is the big master, is the big boss over what? Pituitary. The pituitary gland produces 6 hormones. And every one of those hormones, in order to be released, the order has to come from what? Hypothalamus. And if you mess up the hypothalamus, that is going to mess up what? All the hormones of what? Pituitary. The hypothalamus is connected to the pituitary gland. See this neck portion right here? Because it's not labeled, you should label it in your book or somewhere. This right here, that is called infundibulum. So hypothalamus is linked or connected to the pituitary gland. And make sure all of this, if I tell you, that means in the lab practical is the third one. It's not labeled in here, but you might see it what in the key, but you do not know what. Or actually there's no number. But make sure you know that, because in the lab practical, there might, here's your pituitary, here's your thalamus. The intermediate mass of the thalamus is darker brown. And then that's your hypothalamus. And that's your what? Pituitary gland. See this right here? This little, that's infundibulum. Or they refer them as pituitary stalk. Just call it infundibulum. These are sort of stuff that is not in the key or so, but they might actually point it out. And then the pons, the medulla oblongata, the cerebellum with the arboretum. And then in the lecture room, when I explain, of course, you're going to read over your extras for your lab quiz. So when I talk about them, you have some idea. But we're going to go over next case in the lecture. Oh. So go inside, take a look at that. We talked about the meninges. We talked about the brain ventricles. After you study the brain structures, also, as you remember, surrounding the brain, we have cranial nerves. Yes? How many? 12? Yes? We have 12 pairs of cranial nerves, one from each side. Most of them, 10 of them, actually, they're in the brainstem area. On the cranial nerves, you should know their name. You should write it down. You should know their name and their Roman numeral number. So if I give you both for the lab practical and also for what? The lecture exam. Yes? Good. But in any case, you should know what? Their number and what? Their name. So if I give you the number, you should come up with the name. If I give you the name, you should come up with what? Number. Okay? For instance, number 1, olfactory. Yes? Number 2, optic nerve. Yes? Number 3, oculomotor nerve. And we're going to go over the function of each in the lecture. First, remember, these are on what? These are on the outside, right? That's part of the peripheral nervous. That's for the front exam. Yes? In chapter 12 is what? CNS. So we're not going to talk about this till what? Couple of this one. But anyhow, for the front exam, when I go over this cranial nerve, I think that you should know what? The name and the number. In your handout, as far as identifying, yes, this cranial nerve, it tells you in your handout, it tells you just go after number 1 through number 6. I think that's what it says. 1 through 6, 11 and what? 12. That's good enough. 1 through, just follow your instruction there in your handout. Just study what? Number 1 through what? Number 6, and number 11 and what? Number 12. That's fine. For the lab. Now, so as far as exercise 17, we have these models right here. Remember, guys, these type of models, like this one, or these models right here, they call them Samso model. They're tougher. And then these are called Harvard model. See that? These are Harvard. So, brain, and you have few of this. I think the key that you have in here matches with what? With the numbers in here. But don't go with that. Just put the pictures in front of you, and then that's that. Nervous system, Harvard, in this one. See, there's lots of redundancy. If you know the brain in here, you also know in the front, you don't have to do nothing. Of course, you have a key, and remember, go after the one that has what? Acid. But really, once you study, if you know this one, for sure you know what? Okay. Don't worry about the sensory neurons, motor neurons. Just only about study the brain portion. Okay. The third one is the half of the head, which you already had that. We use the muscle, right? But this time we're going to use one. And once again, if you know that one, for sure you know what? The corpus callosum, the corpus callosum. Fornix is fornix. Yes? The pons is pons. Medulla oblongata. Cerebellum is cerebellum. Arboretum is arboretum. Yes? Possibly that's not much. Now, what I want you to do is that before we leave, because the sheep brain is not involved in the BRC. This model, go to BRC and study. Do you get time tonight after you go over the sheep brain? Fine. If not, make sure, as I told you, make sure go to what? To BRC. Okay? So, but you can take a picture of the keys. So what I want you all to do is that there are two buckets in here. One has the whole brain, yes? And whatever that you see in there, try to identify. Like this morning, it took students like 5 minutes. It's not really that difficult. It's just, I think some of them took 3 minutes, they can identify. It's not that hard. And then the small bucket has the whole one. Yes? Put these figures or bring your computer to that area. We're going to go table by table, I think. Look at those. And then the bigger bucket has the half. Yes? Put that in front of you, identify the cerebellum, the arboretum, whatever that you got, you see what in here. By the way, guys, some of this stuff, these are from the publisher. You may want to go to your exercise 17. Yes, in your Pearson, go to exercise 17. This figure is in there. So that way you have the complete. If not, but anyways, let's do this, guys. Let's go over guys, I'm pretty sure you didn't bring your gloves, but supposedly you're supposed to bring your own gloves. But gotta find the box this morning. But just 1%. Look at actually, bro. So when you're coming in here, 1% do the pick up the whole brain. One pick up what? The mid sagittal or the, and then as a group what? Identify this.